14,000 feet over Fort Bragg, North Carolina, with the U.S. Army's parachute troop, the Golden Knights. I'm Joan Lunden. Good evening, America, and welcome as once again we go behind closed doors.
Tonight, Joan skydives with the world's greatest aerial acrobatic team. But first, she'll have to learn to fly. In a television exclusive, Joan joins the Golden Knights in a formation skydive for a rocket ride she'll never forget. While the Golden Knights dazzle audiences with their showmanship, Army paratroopers rule the battlefield with their firepower. Joan goes behind closed doors with paratroopers from the U.S. Army's 82nd Airborne, America's Warriors of the Sky.
A good paratrooper is a person who is not afraid to stick their heads in a dark hole.
Joan confronts her own fears as she trains with the paratroopers.
What, 2000?
Then, using special night vision cameras, Joan experiences the awesome power of America's war machine, up close and personal, as cannons, trucks, and commandos rain down in the night.
The danger is part of the rush.
It's all tonight on Behind Closed Doors with Joan Lunden.
When the U.S. Army needs to send in soldiers fast, they send in the paratroopers of the 82nd Airborne. Their mission? Parachute in behind enemy lines and fight the enemy on their own turf. In 1944, it was the 82nd that dropped into occupied France on D-Day and helped defeat Adolf Hitler's forces. Half a century later, their equipment may have changed, but not their dedication. From the invasion of Normandy to Operation Desert Storm, the U.S. Army's 82nd Airborne is the most famous and most decorated paratrooper unit in military history. Tonight we go behind closed doors and into the night with the men and women who secretly wage war while the world sleeps.
Get ready! There we go!
Nestled in the clay hills of central North Carolina, sprawling Fort Bragg has been the home of the Airborne since its inception. It's an open base, so you can drive right through it and hardly notice anything out of the ordinary, except for the occasional no trespassing sign. But what goes on behind closed doors at Fort Bragg has changed the course of history.
Airborne, good to see you.
The training begins each day at 6:30 a.m. when the military police shut down one of the post's main streets for PT, or physical training. Attendance is mandatory, even for generals.
What makes a good paratrooper?
A good paratrooper is a person who is physically fit and a person who is not afraid to stick their heads in a dark hole. I'd say if you put those two combinations together, you got a great paratrooper.
Talk to me a little bit about Fort Bragg and what makes it so unique.
We can launch from the United States and go about any place in the world.
How fast?
The first airplane with a unit from the 82nd Airborne Division can be moving 18 hours after we get the call.
So we're always ready to go.
We're always ready to go.
Since everyone at Fort Bragg must remain on constant alert, the dress code here is heavy boots and Army fatigues. For headgear, the distinctive wine red beret is the hallmark of the paratrooper. But it's the constant training missions that keep the jumpers of the 82nd Airborne on their toes, literally.
What's the best part of your job?
Probably those few seconds when you jump out the plane, when you actually feel the thrill of flying through the air. That's probably the best part, for me at least, personally.
Since hundreds of parachutes falling from a blue sky would be easy targets for enemy fire, these soldiers usually work and train after dark. Sergeant William Young has been a paratrooper since 1989. He jumped into battle over Panama.
You're really afraid of heights?
Yes, ma'am.
Then what did you go into this for?
to overcome my fear of heights, ma'am.
Have you done that?
No, ma'am.
Land!
While behind closed doors at Fort Bragg, I was given unprecedented access to observe the 82nd's war games. And in order to understand what they do, I had to learn how they do it from the ground up.
Land! Good morning, jumpers. At this station, what we're going to do is the parachute landing fall. Get ready.
Lesson number 1, how to fall.
Land! Outstanding. One more time.
Like every other novice jumper, the first jump I had to make was from only 2 feet off the ground.
Yes, ma'am. When you jump off, you will hit here, hitting these points of contact. Land! Good job. Keep your elbows in tighter.
It was an okay first try, but I discovered that even at 2 feet, my fear of falling got in the way.
You want to fall.
Okay.
Because it's protecting you. If you don't fall properly, you're going to break something.
Okay.
The training that you're receiving will not allow you to be injured if you do it properly.
I am not afraid.
All right, ma'am. Jumpers, get ready. Prepare to land. Land. That was your best one yet.
All right.
Since jumping out of a plane is much different than jumping off a 2-foot bench, lesson number 2, the position of the body while exiting an aircraft.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000.
Since troop planes must fly as low as 500 feet above the ground to avoid enemy radar, paratroopers don't have time to deploy their own chutes. The parachutes are attached to the plane itself. As the soldiers exit, their chutes open automatically.
And up. Airborne personnel, stand up.
Paratroopers must practice their aircraft exits in a plane mock-up on the ground.
By locking your elbow, this distance gives you a 1-second interval between the jumper in front of you and the jumpers behind you as well.
Okay.
So it gives you your space in the air. Once the parachutes have deployed, you have your little piece of atmosphere out there that nobody else is bouncing into.
So I don't get run into by anyone, or I don't run into anyone.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is a very real danger. Paratroopers colliding in midair can cause the chutes to become entangled, risking the lives of the jumpers. The Airborne granted us permission to show this rare accident footage for the first time on television.
That hurt. Did you hear that? Holy.
These jumpers escaped with broken bones, but similar mishaps have cost other soldiers their lives. Lesson number 3, the 34-foot tower. The height of the tower was chosen for psychological reasons.
The same sense of fear that you feel at 34 feet is the same that you feel at 100, 200, 400, 800, so on and so forth. So that the tower serves as 2 purposes. 1, to help you overcome your fear of falling and your fear of heights, and 2, to emphasize a proper exit position when exiting the aircraft.
There you go! Shoot now!
The parachutes weighed 35 pounds and seemed to get heavier with each step I took. And the ground got further and further away.
Put your left foot on the edge of the platform, hands over the end of reserve tight, chin on your chest, and keep a good tight position.
All right.
Walking through this open door, 34 feet above the ground, was an unbelievable challenge. Everything in my body said, don't take that step.
Stand by. Go.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000.
Okay, check your canopy, ma'am. That was great.
Okay, that's much better than Disney World. Sorry, ABC. I did close my eyes for about a half a second, and then I said, don't do that. You want to see.
It all happened so fast. I felt that sickening plunge in my stomach, and then the cord went tight, and I shot forward like a bullet. The 82nd had me jump twice, but before they're qualified to fly, soldiers must make a minimum of 11 jumps, often in groups of 3. As the soldiers of the 82nd go through their drills, they trust that every piece of equipment on their back will work perfectly every time. Less than 100 yards from the tower is a nondescript warehouse-like building. Behind these closed doors is where every stitch of fabric and rigging is meticulously checked and rechecked. On any given day, this warehouse contains more than 4,000 parachutes, rigged and ready to go. But surprisingly, the nylon parachutes have a limited shelf life. If a chute hasn't been used within several months, it will be unrolled, inspected for signs of wear, and repacked.
Go to work! This is the big thing right here. Signing your name to your book right here. This is your career right here. I'm signing this saying that I watched him and that he packed this parachute in accordance to the regulations. And when I sign that, that's my job.
The riggers aren't just hired help, they jump with the 82nd. And to keep them focused, an additional backup safety procedure exists. At any time, a commander can order a rigger to jump from an airplane wearing the parachute they've just packed.
Every single one of these that I pack, that's someone's life. If I mess up, someone dies. It's my fault. I don't want to live with that.
Coming up, when the 82nd goes to war, it's not just soldiers, but 20,000 pounds of equipment that drops from the sky. And I get a front row seat for war games in the night.
Behind Closed Doors will continue in a moment here on A&E. Behind Closed Doors with Joan Lunden continues here on A&E.
Pope Air Force Base is only a dot on the map. Located just north of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, it covers less than 4 square miles, most of which are runways. Access to Pope is strictly controlled. That's because it's here that the Boeing C-17 and C-130 troop carrier jets are kept, the fleet of giant aircraft that put the air in airborne.
This is Green Ramp, where America's airborne war machine ramps up. When the 82nd Airborne invades a country halfway around the world, the mission starts here.
The last time jumpers from the 82nd left Green Ramp on an actual mission was in 1994, when the Pentagon ordered an invasion of Haiti in the wake of its military coup. 41 different jets were secretly thundering toward the Caribbean island nation when the Haitian dictator decided to step down. The planes returned to Fort Bragg.
So is there a strange feeling of anticipation, relief, but anticipation at the same time, like you're ready to go?
Perhaps amongst some of the youngsters you'd find anxiety. For those of us who have been down the road before, we understand it's what we do, and it's not something we're out looking for, but if the call comes, we're ready.
Jumping in is just the beginning.
Commuter transportation. We're going to work. A jump typically culminates in securing an airfield. We're seizing certain objectives. We're causing behavioral modification in some enemy, either capitulate or we'll bring you to an untimely demise.
I like that. Capitulate or you will come to your untimely demise. That's the politically correct way of saying surrender or you die.
I'm not into those things politically correct, but the truth is, if someone wants to modify their behavior, we'd prefer not to kill them, yeah.
To maintain a constant state of readiness, jumps occur on a daily basis. Every 6 weeks, the 82nd launches a full-scale invasion scenario. The purpose of these war games is threefold: to get troops to the battlefield, set up a command center, and destroy enemy targets. For the first time, cameras were allowed to film these war games at night.
All the way.
4 hours before takeoff, jumpers arrive by truck, They carried their own weapons and gear.
Check equipment! Check equipment! Go!
After running through last-minute exit drills, soldiers were issued their main and reserve chutes. To experience the full weight of what they do, I geared up with them.
How heavy is this? This is 29 pounds.
Okay.
Now you raise your arms up, and we'll connect the reserve parachute to you.
Now comes the heavy part.
Okay.
Now comes the heavy part. Wow. What is this?
This is the Alice pack here.
The Alice pack?
Yes, ma'am.
Did we not like Alice?
You love Alice. You'll learn to love her because she has all your equipment. She holds your radio, spare batteries, clothing, food, things of that nature that you're going to need on the battlefield.
The Alice Pack, which stands for All-Purpose Lightweight Individual Carrying Equipment Pack, was an unbelievable burden. The combined weight of this basic gear, 85 pounds.
I can't believe how heavy it is. And I hear some guys even have more?
Yes, ma'am. Some have mortar systems, some have machine guns, and they weigh a lot more. And plus you have to have extra ammunition with it. And the ammunition does add more and more weight to you. And with the more weight comes more of a jolt.
With up to 200 pounds of heavy equipment to carry, the soldiers are instructed to literally waddle as they file onto the planes. This prevents serious injuries to their backs. For tonight's exercises, 800 paratroopers would be jumping. More than 100 soldiers were packed into the belly of each warplane. Across the runway, the division's Humvees and howitzer cannons, the tools of their trade, were loaded onto 5 C-130s. These planes are literally flying garages, and the equipment is specially rigged to survive the 800-foot plunge. How do they do that? At the heavy equipment rigging shed, a whole separate unit is in charge of packing the gear. Security here is tight. Twin barbed wire fences, guards armed with M16s, video cameras, and motion detectors provide round-the-clock protection for the 82nd's machines of war. Behind these closed doors, dozens of vehicles, cannons, and tons of ammunition are encased in honeycomb packing material and lashed onto heavy metal platforms.
Hold up.
It's like packing a suitcase. It's always different, and you have to get it to fit as best you can.
A typical payload can weigh as much as 40,000 pounds and cost $500,000. Once everything is secure, the platforms are attached to as many as 8 heavy-duty parachutes. Although it looks small, this flying platform holds 2 full-size Humvees. The parachutes are rigged to separate from the platform at the shock of impact, so heavy winds won't cause the rig to tip over and damage the equipment. At all times, a platoon's worth of gear stands packed and ready to be shipped out and literally dropped into battle. For tonight's exercises, at 8 p.m., it was wheels up at Green Ramp. The warplanes took to the darkening North Carolina sky. The same soldiers I trained with at the 34-foot tower were now packed like sardines inside these planes. I waited for them at a drop zone 8 miles away, the target of tonight's attack. To simulate war conditions, the drop zone had to be completely blacked out. We shot all the action with infrared cameras so as not to compromise the mission. Brigadier General David Petraeus explained what was about to happen.
Joan, what we have tonight is a brigade that is seizing an airfield by parachute assault to allow the introduction of follow-on forces by air-land.
Translation: the soldiers must parachute in, set up their cannons, and destroy enemy targets.
Heavy's impact in 8 minutes.
All was quiet. And then the air was filled with a deafening rumble as the menacing formation of warplanes appeared on the horizon. I watched as the 25,000-pound platforms began slamming to earth. Moments later, the troop planes arrived.